All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by Stefan Brunning of Flipside Group. Just to kick things off, Steph, you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, your role, your team, and your team's objectives at Flipside?
Yes, sure thing. Hi, my name is Stefan Brüning. I'm Director of Client Experience Digital at Flipside Group. With Flipside, we are part of the Weber Shandwick network. So we are pretty much the digital arm of a larger multinational PR agency. In my role as a client experience director, my responsibility is to lead digital solutions for our clients. We have clients from various different industries. We have clients from healthcare, from consumer, from electronics, and well, basically, we at Flipside we do pretty much the whole bandwidth of digital solutions. So initially, we were focused on mobile. So we created a lot of mobile apps, tablet apps, wearable apps. But then obviously we also do a lot of web. We create websites. We help with performance marketing and everything else of the online marketing industry pretty much.
Fantastic. Steph, let me also just say it's really excited to be having this chat with you. I'm glad you joined us. Been really excited with the partnership and with what we've seen Flipside Group and your team in particular executing with and for your customers and your clients. Let's talk about some of those clients, in fact, who are using Socialive, working with Flipside Group is using Socialive, like Oppo, Avexis, Greenwich Peninsula. What are some of the challenges and pain points that they've faced in regards to video creation or communications, especially during the pandemic?
Well, the biggest pain point for sure is that live communication was not an option anymore. So events were canceled. That was probably the first and the biggest issue we faced and our clients faced, was that all trade fairs, conferences, all these kind of events were canceled, and month and sometimes a year or 2 years of planning was sort of down the drain, and they needed alternatives. So, for instance, if we take the example of Oppo, a Chinese company which is specialized in mobile phones and gadgets, they hadn't addressed media in Germany yet, and they were planning a press conference to address German media and to sort of launch Oppo officially in Germany. And then just a couple of weeks before it was planned to go down, COVID happened pretty much, and conferences were called off. There were drastic measures. It wasn't an option anymore to do it live and to do it as it was planned initially. So the press conference was not happening anymore, and we were figuring out what we can do for them, because Weber Shandwick is a partner from one of Oppo's partners, and they were helping them with a press conference. And together with Weber Shandwick, we were figuring out a way to digitalize the whole thing and to find a digital option to the press conference, and that is where Socialive came in, because obviously, Socialive is the perfect platform to replace events or to take events to the digital to digital channels, right? So in that case, we had 4 weeks to plan everything and to find a substitute to the real event and bring it online.
Fantastic. How did you initially think when we were first beginning these conversations, and it was actually, I think it was in the midst of this new kind of world we're living in right now, or at least kind of early on as people were adjusting to the new climate. How did you think Socialive initially was going to help your clients? Was it through that lens and trying to solve those same pain points, or were there other things you had in mind?
Well, I think it's an interesting question, because we work in digital, we have a very different view on things than people who don't. And for me, it wasn't an option like many for others that everything and anything will take place on Zoom now. And it was quite clear that if every client and if every sort of event or any kind of communication is just sort of taking place on Zoom, it's getting a bit one-dimensional maybe, right? And it's that wasn't an option for us. We thought there must be better ways to shape communication, maybe to bring some variety in there, to steer it, maybe foster some sort of interactivity as well. We wanted to play around with how things are displayed. We also wanted to have some sort of customization in there, and we wanted the platform or the solution to feel on brand, right? So all of that is not really possible with those common, I would say, conferencing tools or common communication tools that are used most of the time. And we were looking for a better way to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are such innovators, so I figure kind of anytime you're approaching an initiative or any work, client work itself, it's you're taking that lens and how can we differentiate, how can we kind of go next level versus kind of maybe the bare stakes expectation, and certainly Zoom right now, given everything, is kind of taking that seat. But that's also a communications platform, right? So I think that as you have looked to, and this kind of leads into the next question, as you've looked to video solutions to help take that to the next level, right? It's not just a meeting. It's not just a simple chat. We want to produce an experience, and we want to have the things you just mentioned, the customization, right? Like beyond some of the custom elements like that, like are there, what were the clients looking for specifically in a video solution? How did you end up deciding on Socialive?
I think most of our clients that have now also utilized Socialive were not even aware that things are possible, or that certain things that are possible with Socialive are actually possible. So I think we took a lot of our clients off guard in a way, in a positive way, because they weren't really expecting what we were sort of pitching them and what we were presenting them. And there were a lot of elements, a lot of functionalities where there was a big sort of wow factor as well. For instance, not only having a video platform or broadcasting tool where you are able to broadcast live to a website or to a video player that is embedded in a website, we were also able to broadcast it live and automatically to their social media channels. And that was a big game changer in a way, because nobody really expected that it could be that easy, right? That you just sort of record something once, or you broadcast something live once, but stream it to so many different places. And by that, you were able to reach all those different sort of target audiences, all at the same time. And those were definitely, I mean, in the end, we had quite a lot of very different events and quite different use cases where Socialive was utilized. Sometimes it was sort of just a closed target audience where we invited our guests, and only per invite people were able to follow perhaps the virtual press conference or whatever that was. But then we also had other events that were public and where one of the KPIs was to have as much viewership as possible, right? Mm-hmm. So there it came in really handy to also broaden the broadcast, or to sort of open up more ways to reaching people.
Yeah, and these sorts of those kind of curated environments, the ability to distribute out to social, some of the more traditional channels, but also today it's like how can we curate something extra special, and in some cases for closed or gated audiences, right? And Flipside's done something incredibly innovative and interesting, and I'd love for you if you can share a little bit around the Conference Plus experience and what you've kind of built out there, or how that's been valuable to your clients. We would love to hear that too.
Well, we were actually looking at different things. sort of we needed one platform that sort of comprises different elements and different functionalities, and we were struggling to find one solution that sort of covered anything between inviting your audiences, broadcasting the experience, curating the experience, and then also having analytics, having perhaps like a web application where the event is taking place, maybe sort of a location where you could be used as a video library, or that could be used also as a place where audiences can communicate, can chat, can find other resources, download interesting inputs and stuff like that. So that was sort of probably the reason why we created it ourselves, because we were looking around for a solution that comprised all those things, couldn't find it, and then we thought, okay, that's somehow it's lacking, it's missing, so we need to build it ourselves. And we were able to put it all together and to use sort of tried and tested technology such as Socialive, which was of great quality standard and super helpful. And then we took bits and pieces and sort of combined them into one solution for our clients.
Yeah, remarkable. All right, on to another topic here. You mentioned, we'll touch back on something that you mentioned earlier. Actually, you mentioned the virtual press conference with Oppo.
Right.
Could you tell us a little bit more? What did that look like, and how did Socialive help with that?
Right. Well, initially the aim was to talk to German top tier media, and the biggest KPI was probably having a certain number of journalists present and follow the live broadcast. Another KPI was the media coverage after the event. So media coverage, obviously, and then PR was the most important aim, right? Oppo hadn't addressed the media before. They are a fairly unfamiliar mobile phone brand in Germany compared to others, such as a Korean company or a company from Cupertino. But then, on the other hand, they didn't only want to address the media and talk to them, but they also wanted to present themselves. They wanted to sort of present who they are, where they are from, how they work. They wanted to present their new office, where they are based in Germany. They wanted to present their new smartphones. So the product launches were quite an important aspect as well. So we had quite a few very different expectations in a way, and we had to make it work. And Socialive came in extremely handy, as we were able to both use recorded inputs, but also use a live element, because Oppo wanted to also to involve partners from, for instance, network partners from Vodafone, or also technology partners such as Qualcomm. And then they also wanted to have them sort of chip in, and they wanted to pre-produce some of the input and some of the material that was broadcasted. But they decided to have a live Q&A session, and it was remarkable how it all worked out. We sort of recorded material on location in Düsseldorf, in their headquarters, and we had some interview sessions. We had some product demonstrations, sort of like an unpackaging of a new device that came out. We had some involvement from real product experts that were talking about the products, the pros, and sort of like all the features, gave the full show. But then we also were able to capture some sort of video and greetings from their biggest partners, and that was nice input as well. And then we had it was about an hour broadcast in total, and we had something around 40 minutes of a pre-recorded material, and then we switched to a live session where the live Q&A took place, and the switch was quite swift, and we received tremendous and quite amazing feedback afterward. We had media turnout from the most important sort of top tier tech media in Germany. There's, for instance, one writer from a tech magazine said this is how a virtual conference should be like, and we got a lot of praise for sort of mixing and matching those different elements, right? So yeah, that was amazing.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I think mixing and matching those certain elements, and I think what you're talking about is having, I think the ability from a production standpoint, tell me if I'm right here, but it sounds like the ability from a kind of tactical production standpoint to be able to tie together live, pre-recorded, different sorts of visuals into this. But I think really importantly, and you touched on this a little earlier in what you were sharing with Oppo, like there's the need to humanize the brand a little bit and bring some human faces and culture into the storytelling. It's not just about a product. And especially in the environment and how we're all consuming these events and just content in general, that helps kind of close the gap a little bit and make things a little bit more intimate between audience and presenter, whether that presenter is a single person or a company launching a new, in a new market. Did you find that was the case? It sounds like that was a little bit of what you were saying. And I'd also, do you find that that's extending into other client engagements you're doing? Thinking of Avexis and some of the others who have done this. Like, is that human element and is that kind of multimedia or multifaceted approach to the live event really core for them?
Yeah, it's really nice how you put it. You said to humanize the experience, and that's exactly what one of the biggest challenges is. I believe it's not enough to just have something which can be consumed. You need to curate something. You need to create an experience that also involves the viewership. So we need to foster interactivity, and we need to involve those people that are viewing, and that's what Socialive allows us to do. We've got elements like the live polling, for instance, that is extremely useful, and it's amazing how we can display the results just a few sort of minutes or seconds after we post that question. And it's quite important that there is more than just sort of a one-way presentation. It's got to be a two-way communication, and that's crucial. And that's where, Socialive really helps us to do that, because it helps us to connect people. As we can curate the experience, we can connect people that are not in the same room, but we make it appear as if they were in the same room. So being able to have online live panels with 5 or 6 people, that is tremendous. And I think that's probably the biggest benefit of the tool, that we can connect people in better ways and more meaningful ways than with other tools. And that's what we have to do.
That's the name of the game, right? And to that end, it's so I'm here in Brooklyn, New York. Steph, where are you?
I'm in Cologne, Germany.
Cologne, Germany. So we got the Atlantic between us, but we can have these sort of intimate conversations and bring folks together in this way. Certainly, all the elements you're talking about bringing the audience closer into these is something that we see a lot as well. And I think the more and more that we continue to lean into these virtual experiences and find ways of kind of taking them to that next level, right? I guess the initial goal we set out with here is taking it to the next level, broadly speaking. Absolutely. The interactivity is first and foremost.
Absolutely. And you asked about other use cases, for instance, or other events we did. And Greenwich Peninsula. They have this sort of a festival every year in London, in Greenwich. And this year, obviously, it wasn't taking place. It got cancelled. It was in the middle of the pandemic, where pretty much everybody in the world had to stay home. There were strict curfews everywhere. There were lockdowns. So something like a music festival, or a festival where people who live in the same neighborhood were supposed to come together, celebrate together, have a good time together in summer. That wasn't happening anymore. And interestingly, we got the chance to try it and to bring it online. So we held a virtual festival instead. And it was amazing. The turnout was great. We had lots of interactivity. We had the full day. We started early in the morning with a live gospel choir, with people enabling people to sing along. And we had all kinds of sessions. We had a live yoga session where people were asked to take part, sorry. And we had great engagement there. We had arts and crafts where people were able to craft certain things together. We had a live DJ battle with amazing DJs from London and LA, who were sort of battling it out on the DJ sets. What else? We had.
I saw some of that. That was fun.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was on a sunny Sunday, and working on these events was a lot of fun. It was quite a good time, actually, and the music was amazing, and it was also good to see. It's sometimes it's just really rewarding when you see what comes back, sort of, right? And when you see you had an idea that actually works out, and you have a great turnout, and you land a sort of successful online event. And who would have thought half a year ago, or maybe just over half a year ago in January, that you could do something like that, and that actually people would turn out to a virtual summer festival. And now that's our reality.
It's happening. Yeah, exactly. There's kind of no other way at the moment, unfortunately. But it paves the way for us to, I think, continue to innovate in really interesting ways and drive the path forward. So this one, which was the live festival experience that you brought online, given the community nature of that, where did you choose to distribute that content? That went into Conference Plus, but also elsewhere, or where was that?
Yeah, we had a Conference Plus web application, and that was sort of it's a website, and then also we streamed it to YouTube Live and Facebook Live. And we think, yeah, those were the two places. Sometimes I get mixed up because we do so many events by now with Socialive, and we use so many different channels. So for B2B audiences, obviously we use mainly LinkedIn, but for those kind of audiences, Facebook was the way to go, YouTube was the way to go. And I don't have the exact numbers right now. I need to check if I can find them. I can find
Sure.
them, but I can't say how many people viewed it on Facebook. But I think we had it running in 3 different places at the same time, and it was quite interesting to see how different feedback came in. You had a bunch of comments, and yeah, it was amazing to see how you were able to get something back as well. We actually used Zoom and a Zoom call to have people participate as well. So back then we thought how cool would it be if people were able to participate in the yoga sessions, for instance, and they could also get involved and be seen by others. So we sort of asked them to join us on Zoom, dial into a Zoom call that we had set up, and then we used the screen share functionality from Socialive to show our Zoom call, and then and now we sort of displayed the people that were taking part and that were joining the yoga fun, and that was quite special to see how, you know, we had kids and people from all kinds of different age groups taking part and having fun with us together. Yeah, it worked out quite well.
I love it. Um, the you're gonna like Steph. You're gonna like we're rolling out the ability to ingest RTMP, and that'll include from Zoom and other platforms. So you won't need to kind of
Already signed
screen
up?
share anymore. You can actually bring it directly in. Yeah, all sorts of different remote camera feeds outside of the Socialive system. Zoom being one of them. We can edit that out, team, but that's just a side note for you, Steph.
Yeah, I've already signed up for early access.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. I saw it. I do follow all your stuff that you're bringing out. I already signed up for Android beta, so I've got the Android app installed, playing around with that as well. Because that was our first idea. How cool would it be to launch Oppo in Germany and you broadcast from the Oppo phone, and the whole thing is happening on an Oppo phone? And
Completely.
now being able with the Android app to do that is quite amazing, because now we can stream on the go. We can have people using mobile devices, and all of a sudden it becomes even more interactive, right? And we have one option more to make it more engaging, more interesting. You get this sort of behind the scenes feeling, and that is amazing. And that's why we're really we really enjoy working with Socialive and having new features coming in every couple of weeks.
Cool, Steph. So talk to me. Tell me, how has, last question here. How has the partnership with Socialive helped you and your clients succeed?
The partnership with Socialive has helped us tremendously in improving the way we broadcast content. So for our clients, the biggest hurdle was that live events were not happening anymore. Live events got canceled. They were not trade fairs anymore, no press conferences anymore, and we needed to find a substitute. And Socialive has helped us to stick out of the crowd in a way, to differentiate, to be different and more customized, more on brand compared to any other solution that was out there. So together with Socialive, we improved the content, and especially the content curation and distribution for events that were not taking place, but online.